Over the past month, I have been handcrafting hundreds of paper Minecraft blocks that satisfyingly connect using magnets. However, using these, I'm gonna be attempting to build the most dangerous cave in the game called the Deep Dark, filled with hundreds of dark blocks, really creepy sounds, and a terrifying boss you don't want to mess with. Now's not the time to start shaking, Steve. Back in Minecraft Update 1.19, Mojang decided to change the game forever and make caves completely different. Instead of just normal caves that use stone and basic materials, now they go twice as far down and start to look more disturbing the further you go. However, if you travel really far down, you'll stumble on a new and complex area called the Deep Dark, which throughout this video, I made tons of every new block in this area, which looks crazy by the way. And now we're gonna take this blank table and convert it into a giant mini Deep Dark. Is this even possible? Will it look good? I guess we'll find out. In order to recreate this thing in real life, there are 4 steps we need to take. The first being the meat of this build. And yes, I mean meat. Basically by using 300 of the first important block of this area, deep slate, which is just a light skin version of stone, we can start to put together a massive area to map out how big this thing will be. So far, it's just a 6x6 square for the middle. However, by using stone as a filler block, I can add elevation to the build and start moving outwards. By building with some thick chunks, it can very easily get bigger. Even right now, I've used hundreds of blocks. But to continue, I finished beefing out the left side. Dang, that looks fire! But overall, I want to keep a kind of oval shape with generation all around. And as I keep stacking and clicking these 1-inch blocks, we are done. Let's go! Besides this place looking drier than a Popeye's biscuit no bev, you could say the meat of it is complete, and now Steve has a place to walk on. Very nice. Moving on to step number 2, we have to drip this place out. Since all the regular cave ores have stone as the background, none of them can be used. By the way, I threw the plastic ones, so don't worry. But essentially, I had to make all new deep slate ores to fit the theme, and they look great. We have blocks like coal, iron, lapis, copper, gold, redstone, emeralds, and lastly, diamonds. I start shaking whenever I see those. Now I feel like this cave is looking pretty worth it, but we are far from done. Like all caves, there are other blocks that make it special. And shout out to my boys granite, diorite, andesite, gravel, tuff, and dirt. Boom, baby, we got random generation. Now, usually in Minecraft caves, there's a lot of water and lava chilling around. However, for some weird reason, this place is not moist at all. I guess sometimes it can happen, but not today. However, instead of silly liquids and regular cave fashion, we're going to be switching to blocks you can only find in the Deep Dark. And it's gonna get much more cursed. But before we continue, shameless plug. If you guys want to have your own Minecraft blocks at home, check out my website to get free templates, buy your own blocks, or become a member to get new templates daily. All right, I'm done, guys. Here's a thought. What if I told you this cave is only half the size of what it will be? That's right, because in step 3 of our dark journey, we're moving on to Skulk. This right here is a Skulk catalyst, and while it looks like a half-dipped Oreo, this block is vital to the Deep Dark. As you can see, I placed 10 of them all over the surface, and the purpose of this was to start the infamous infection. Why is everything blue? If you couldn't tell, whenever something dies near these catalysts, this blue stuff called Skulk spawns all around. Specifically, we have some new blocks like Skulk, which either look like black mold or space, Skulked Deep Slate, which has this blue rash that might be infectious, and eventually, you get 2 more special blocks that spawn in called Skulk Sensors, which have these blue tentacles, and Skulk Shriekers. This looks like someone forgot to flush. If you couldn't tell, these blocks took me a long time to make, bruh. But they are what make this place so dangerous. Now, while the catalysts react to things dying, these are all based on sound. When you're mining, you are bound to run, mine, fight, and make all sorts of noise. However, here, that cannot happen. Whenever this Skulk sensor here hears a noise you make, it sends a redstone signal near anything that is close to it. That's where the shrieker comes in. As soon as this gets activated, you instantly lose all vision and can barely see anything. Oh, thank God. But that's not even all it does. If you activate it too much, it won't just be Notch turning off the lights. No, no, no. Something will come after you. But anyways, after all that explaining, using the remaining sculk blocks I have, let's transform this cave further. I replaced more of the deep slate with the infected ones, making sure to let y'all hear the gorgeous sound effects. I also did the same with these sculk blocks as well. I only had 150 of them. And if you didn't notice, I ended up having so many blocks replaced and left over that I was able to make deep dark pillars. These are made up of different ores, sculk blocks, and deep slate, so that there are even more places to hide in this biome. However, once all of the remaining blocks have been used up and I finish clicking these blocks over and over in place, this build is almost complete. The last and final step to the deep dark is none other than mobs. But that's actually a lie. It's just mob. Because surprisingly, there is only one mob that spawns here to keep things quiet. The Warden. You know how I was saying that these shriekers can spawn a guy that hunts you? Well, this is him. He really is him though. I put some magnets in his arm and head so he can move, and for some reason he looks like a blobfish, but bro is insanely powerful. Let me educate you guys real quick. When the Warden spawns, he literally erupts from the ground. Keep in mind, you're also blind and freaking out when this happens. On top of that, you can also hear the Warden's heartbeat the entire time. And if you try to get away from him, he charges up and blasts you with an energy beam. However, that's not even the worst part. Surprisingly, he can two-hit you with netherite armor. Now in my videos, Steve always plays on the maximum difficulty with no armor, but this makes it even worse. Without armor, that's over 22 hearts per hit. So yeah, basically just sneak around and hide. But once I make our Warden friend feel at home, we did it. We did it! The deep dark is finally done. Honestly, this build was pretty simple, but oh man is this cave massive compared to the first one I built. The total number of blocks used is over 500, and there's over 20 different types of blocks. What I really like about the deep dark is the way you have to play the game down here. The Warden is some big scary monster that chases you down, and you have to play carefully or else you will die. And if you want to know a fun fact, the same guy that made the Aether, one of Minecraft's biggest mods ever, and the reason why everybody made glowstone portals back in the day, was hired to make the deep dark. I thought that was so cool. But hold on, because we are not done with these blocks. Hidden in the depths of the deep dark lies a structure that everyone risks their lives to see. And I'm going to build it in an entirely different video because it's so big. In another episode of the Plop, I'm going to be building the ancient city. Please hit like, smash buttons, and stay crafting. Peace.